Welcome Ji. Let's start Kotlin tutorial. Today I am going to discuss about the object. Okay. So in Kotlin, we have look this object in three different way. One, we have to discuss object about expression and object as a declarations, and the final one will discuss about the companion objects. Okay, and in general all the other programming language use the concept of object. Okay, so first we discuss as in general what the meaning of object, and then I will discuss how Kotlin uh, use this object expression, object declaration, and companion object with some example as well, as so that you can correlate the theory and the example. So let's if talk about the as a general object. What are the object? So before writing creating any object in any programming language, we have to write a first class and then create the object of the class. So class and objects in a Kotlin works the same as in the most other programming language like Java and C++. All other programming language have. So same class is a blueprint, as you know, and object is an instance of the class. So if first you have to define a class, and then you can create multiple instance of that class. Those instance known as your object. So this is the common understanding of the object. Just first let's see, we have created one class. This is one class. One class can have a some field, can have a some method. So how to access this variable defined inside a method defined inside a class? So first you have to create multiple instance. Here in Kotlin you can create instance 1. That means this is the d1 object 1. You have create instance 2 object 2. So in this way, this is the one class. Luck dispatcher first define a class. In the class you define the set of attribute like variables and your method, and these variable and method can access from his object. So first you have to, if you want to access this method, you have to create the first object of that class. So here I created the one object, and you can get your function name, invoke the function name. Similarly, now from one class you can create multiple instance. So this instance known as a object. So all other programming language assume that this is the object, and from one class instance, from one class definitions, you can create multiple number of instances. Those instances known as an object. Let's example. So here let's key we have a class car, and let's key we have a define model. Well, model int let's initial model 0. Well, I type which types of car, string. Okay. In this way you can now multiple object you can create it from this car. So by select object 1, equal to see car. This is the and R you can this way car one. Then you can let's define in the same as a constructor as a primary constructor. Okay. Okay. In this way you can define. So here you can say model 2001 type sport, or you can define object 2 model 2020, maybe plain simple type. So in this way you can, so generally, so these are assume. So this is your class definition. In this class you can define object 1 and object 2. So this is the general and all common concepts of your uh, programming language. Here you can look println car 1 uh, car 1 dollar your object 1 dot model and dollar object 1 dot type. This way car 1, you say car 2. Oh, let's why it take so time to run. It will take some time to building a Kotlin application. So yes, it's done. So in this way you can create the uh, this is the car. This is the defining a car class as a blueprint. In this blueprint key, the car can have a model and can have some types, and you can create instance 1, instance 2, instance 3, instance 4. All these instances known as your object. So let us go deep. Now in Kotlin, you also have a object as a keyword. Okay, Kotlin also define as a keyword object. In generally, we say instance of any class known as object, but Kotlin also has a keyword concept objects. So it is used to obtain a data type that with a single implementation. If you are the Java user and want to understood the meaning of single mean, you can just think a singleton pattern that ensure that you can only one instance of that class is create, even one thread or more, two thread or multiple threads. If one object is created for a particular class, the same object are used by all the threads. So in generally in other programming language, you have to implement the singleton design pattern to ensure the only single object is created for a particular class. But in Kotlin, to achieve the singleton patterns, we only need to declare object of an. So object keyword just inform you are going to create a singleton, and this object have a generally no need a maybe no need a class. You can also create a directly object, no need a constructor. Even only a lazy initialization. Why lazy? Because it will be created once when object is accessed. Whenever you until some time you don't need to access the object, those objects. So why object is created? So due to this nature of Kotlin offer you can directly create object. Sometime you don't need any class. So this kind of additional benefit Kotlin language offer you, we can create a object. This is normal way. First we create a class, then create an instance, those instances on an object. But you can create directly an instance object as well as using the object keyword. So these object keywords we have discussed in three way. First as a object expression, object declaration, and third we discuss about the companion object. So let us first discuss about the object expression. Okay. So what do you mean by object as expression? So here is the basic typical usage of object expression. Uh, a simple object you can say, or a property structure. There is a known need to do so in a class declaration. Okay. So you can create a single object and declare its member and access its member within a one function. Object like this are often created as a Java anonymous class instance similarly. What do you mean? Means inside one function inside of functions, you can create the object. In generally, any object can have a some property. You can declare property and create object using the object keywords, and those object can use in your function. Don't need to create any class. So this is the new kind of way to creating an object Kotlin offer. Let us example here. We have a function. We have a function like a rent price, and they have taking input like a standard day and festive day and a special day. And now here they have created the object using the object keyword, and just in this object can have a some set of property. These are the set of property you can define here. Now this is your object created, and now this is a complete your object variables, and from object you can access the attribute 1, attribute 2, property 1, property 2, property 3. So this is the way Kotlin offer. We can use object keyword to create object. So exact meaning this is your object, and this is by default singleton. Okay. Now let's example. We have a let's function like take input input like let's key uh, well dd integer well let's key integer let's well yy. Okay, don't, this is the not mem yy. And now here you can create object. Let's say I want to create the object of date of birth. So we have create well date of birth is the one object. So you use keyword object. And now in this object they have some property. Let's say we have a property like well day. Let's key day equal to let's assign your dd. Let's key well you can day month decile let's we have a well year you can define yy. Now you have a complete object. Here you can use println you can say date of birth, birth, और यहाँ पे your date of dollar, this is the object dot your day, and your dollar date of birth month slash dollar 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 date of year. So in this way you can take input and create your object of date of birth. Here you can take input, let's key 2 5 5 90 80, or you can say different date like uh, 27 11 20 14. So here you are explicitly specify the what is the unknown. Oh, sorry. So in this way you can create date of birth. So here Kotlin offer you can specify exact these variables your complete object using the object keyword. So this is specify, this is the object and this is the thing. So in this way you can say object as a expression. So using the some here you are creating an object, but you are not defining any class, we are not creating an instance, just creating the object keyword and specify the set of variables or set of property this object needed, and we can create here, right? Now let's discuss about the object declaration. So you can also use object declaration. It isn't an expression but can't be used as a variable assignment. So whenever you are going to use as a object as a declaration, so you cannot assign as expression. This is not expression, this is a declaration. So in declaration you you should use it directly as a number variable. So here example I write my object like do authentication and write my set of functions attributes, and this is the object. So this is the object, so you can directly object dot your member function you can access. So here you can see like we have a object do auth, and here you can directly declare any functions like take param, and whatever param you pass like username string password string, and here you can just print your user name to dollar the name and password equal to dollar password, and this is the complete object. And here you can directly use the object name dot your function. And here specify like uh, Smith password ABC123, and now you can take. So here you can look like we cannot create a class, but you can create complete object. That object have a set of functions. Here you cannot say this is the your object as a declaration. So here you cannot say like well where well obj3 equal to dou uh, sorry dot take function something in this way. Okay, this is the object that is not taken any input. So in this way you can say you can pass or any way. Okay, so the one way using the object as a declaration, another way object as a expression. So in two way you can directly use the object keyword to directly create object instead of creating class then creating the instance of a class. And let us discuss about, so what is the companion object. Okay, what is the companion object? Okay, so the companion object declaration inside a class define another useful case. When you are going to inside a class, you are defining another companion as a object declaration. In that case, this is the companion object, and it's a similar to like a static method in Java. So you can call object member using its a class name as a qualified. If you plan to use the companion object in Kotlin, consider as a package level function, you can say. What do you mean by simple? Sometime I want to create my object inside a particular class. Okay, similarly look like this is the just like in the case of other language like Java, this is the static member. Only one copy of the particular methods are variable are available. Similarly, if you are declaring a object declaration inside any class in a Kotlin, those object known as a companion object, and companion object can be accessed from a top level class, like here you can say this is the like a one class, this is the one class. Okay, big ben, and here you can define one companion object, and companion object can have a set of functions, set of parameters, set of variable, and this set of function variable is the kind of singleton, and this can be accessed from its class name itself. So you don't need to create the first object of this class and then access the particular function. Directly you can use the class name and get the function. So if you writing this way, this is means your companion object. So let us example like we have written like a class like let's begin with, and here you can define any companion object, and you can give the name my test obj test companion object, and here you can define any number function like do something thing do something. Let's take an uh, integer input variable, and let's just print do something invoked with the I equal to $I, and this is the class. In generally, whenever we are writing any class in Kotlin, first you have to get the object of that class, and then you know the particular set of function. But here in this class, you can let's define fun. Uh, True. Here you can say println I am inside foo. So if you want to invoke the foo function, generally you have to use the uh, well obj4 equal to this, and after that obj4 dot you can invoke foo function. But if you want to have already object, so you don't need to create object. You can directly use the your this dot get you do something function. That's and 545. So here you can directly access all the companion object using your class name itself. And here you notice key you have options. You can uh, just remove this companion name as well as it's still it works. So here you have options. You can write some companion name here, or you can just omit. In both way, it's works. Okay. So this is the and if you want to invoke foo, okay. Oh, so these are the kind of way to write a companion object. Companion object means inside a class, you are writing an object using the companion keyword companion object and give the some your name. And inside the any object have some set of a member. This member you can define here, and this member can directly invoke from your class name itself, like your Bingwen and that your this. And this name of companion object can be optional, you can omit as well as. So this is the look like if some programming language like Java you want to create some static method. Similarly you can, if you want to, in the Kotlin there is no concept of a static variable or a static method. So if you want to look like a static methods and variable concept, that you can access from your companion object. In the case of other programming language like Java, static means key. This is the one copy, one memory location, only one copy available. Static means this is the one for all the class member. Similarly, this is the only one object, singleton object, that is for all the threads and for all the object. You can create multiple beans object and you can get the same object. You cannot get in a different object. This is the only one object created. So let us we have discussed about the three basic concept now about your like object expression, object declarations, and a companion object. So if you be careful, object expressions are executed immediately when they are used. Whenever you are going to use the object expression, at the same time they are executed, initialized and executed immediately. Okay, and when are you going to object as a declarations are initialized lazily. That means you are just declare until you are not going to access. When you going to access at the first time, that this is the going to initialize. This is the benefit of your lazy. You are declaring object, but the object initializations are lazy until you are not going to use those object. Those object is not initialized. And last we have discussed about the companion object. Companion object is a initialized when the corresponding class is loaded. So reason the companion object you are defining inside a class. Okay, so when your class is loaded, at that time this companion object was the initialize. Okay, similarly look like your other programming like your Java static initializer. Similarly. So these are the benefits. Sometime you want to create the object, at the same time you want to initialize, you have to use the object expression. Sometimes you want to declare object, but don't want to really initialize, but when first time they are going to access, at that time this is initialized. And sometime you are writing inside a class, I want to create object. In those situation, you have to use the companion object, and companion object help us to achieve like a static functions, a static initializer, static concept. And if you want to look like a static behavior in your Kotlin language, you have to use the companion object. And companion object is initialized when your class is loaded first time. So this is a kind of a brief about your object. So we have discussed about the object. What is object? In general object, first you create your class, and after this class you can create a multiple object. This is the implicit, all the instance of this class known as an object. But Kotlin offer you can explicitly define an object using the your object keyword. So object is the keyword given by Kotlin. You can define object as a expressions, same time declare and same time initialize. You can declare object as a declaration, just declare when we are going to use, at that time this object going to initialize. And you can use this object inside your class as well. As whenever you are going to declare any companion object inside a class, that all the data member of that companion object is accessed from the class name itself, and this behave look like your static data member. Hope it's useful for you. And again, I'm like to say thank you for watching this video.